We are talking about the Soviet-era medical system that Axelrod and Emmanuel are trying to jam down your throats before the August recess, because the more people see this, the less they like it. It's interesting that this character Axelrod, the backroom dealmaker from Chicago, said this today about the so-called healthcare overhaul, which is really, as I say to you, Soviet-era medical care. Axelrod said, quote, ultimately, this is not about a process, it's about results. Think about what he just said. This is not about a process, it's about results. And he's willing to go forward with a partisan vote. When he says this is not about a process to get this through, but about results, he is repeating an old communist line, by all means necessary. He said we'd like to do this with the votes of members of both parties, but the worst result would be to not get health care reform done. Again, Axelrod is using Soviet-era thinking, which is by all means necessary. I have a book in my hand, which I referred to last week, Out of Mao's Shadow, about the dictator Mao Zedong, who caused the deaths of 60 million fellow Chinese during his desire to bring about compassionate care for all. In order to make a few eggs, you have to break an omelet. And he broke 60 million eggs to make the omelet of the communist revolution that he wanted to make in China. He killed 60 million of his fellow Chinese in order to see his absolute power live on for as long as possible. And I found a chapter in there on communist health care in China, about the system that actually exists to this day in the SARS epidemic that exploded not too long ago. And the reason the SARS epidemic exploded was because of the secrecy of the communist government. And it reads like this. The Communist Party devotes tremendous resources to the collection and control of information, and the care which it guards its secrets has been critical to its ability to stay in power. Did you hear that? The care with which it guards its secrets has been critical to its ability to stay in power. But its institutional obsession with secrecy can also leave it vulnerable. And as a result, the SARS epidemic got out of control. It started with a cook who cooked wild animals in a certain restaurant. It started right there in a little restaurant. A chef at a restaurant that cooked wild animals to order in Szechuan across the border from Hong Kong. This chef came down with a fever and checked into a hospital in his hometown of Huiyan, another city in the southern province of Guangdong. The chef was diagnosed with a serious case of pneumonia, but within days, several doctors and nurses at the hospital had also fallen ill. By the first week of January, provincial authorities had sent a team of medical experts to investigate. And by the third week, a more serious outbreak had been reported in the city of Zhongshan, near the provincial capital of Guangzhou. And it went on and on and on. It was a highly infectious disease, not pneumonia. And it was a report that could have stopped SARS before it became a global epidemic. But the Communist Party's knee-jerk secrecy ensured that it was never widely distributed among the nation's hospitals. That's exactly what Axelrod and Emmanuel and Obama and Waxman are trying to do to you with this so-called healthcare overhaul bill. They are using communist-era tactics. They are using secrecy. They are using gangster-like tactics to make sure no one reads the whole bill. They do not want an open debate in sunlight. They want no debate whatsoever. Now, you have to say, well, what is the end goal? Many of you are deluded. Many of you think you're going to benefit. Many of you think you're going to get something for nothing. Many of you like the idea that the rich will pay more, even though they are the ones supporting you now. As we learned in the last hour, 80% of all taxes are paid by the top 20% of earners in this country, and those of you in the lowest 50% pay no federal income tax whatsoever. So you say, good, drop dead, all of you. I want as much as I can get. I don't care about the nation. At the end of the day, it's not about you or the rich. It's about Barack Hussein Obama, Nancy Pelosi, David Axelrod, Rahm Emanuel, Waxman, and a few others who want absolute power over your life. And I want to remind you that they will control you whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. They will have your medical records. They will know your secrets. They will have your psychiatric records, your psychology records. They will control your medications. They will know what medications you are on. They will manipulate you through the medical system, which is what they are after. He who controls the medical system controls the person. It is what Fidel Castro initiated soon after taking over Cuba. It is what Stalin did in the Soviet Union soon after taking over the Soviet Union. Make no mistake about it. Obama is a communist. Obama wants to be an absolute dictator, and there is no surer way to gain control over every citizen and every citizen's innermost secrets than through a total and absolute run, absolutely controlled government medical system. Did I make my point? Must I spell it out for you over and over again what is going on here? This is not even sleight of hand. It is naked Marxism. If it walks like a Marxist, if it talks like a Marxist, it is a Marxist. You have a communist revolution occurring in slow motion in front of your eyes, and because the media is filled with compliant, agreeable sorts, it is going on without a note of complaint from any side whatsoever. You're living in a system that is a dictatorship right now. I cannot understand how you don't understand this. You have a House, a Senate, and a presidency in the hands of radical left-wing Democrats. And what are they doing? They're trying to railroad America into a system that is alien to the American way of life. The American way of life is being hijacked by a group of gangsters from Chicago. They are going to make trillions of dollars, and they're going to control you from cradle to grave. This is one man's opinion. This is the Savage Nation. I'll be right back.
Savage.